Good evening. Tonight's demo is Christmas tree ornaments. And some of them are very simple, some of them are a little complex, and some of them will be, you're like, oh, I can do that. And some of you here might be thinking, I can't do that. There are really three things you need to know about Christmas tree ornaments. The very first one is weight. You want it as light as you can. You don't want to be doing a 6-inch Bodark sphere and trying to hang it on a tree. And also you have to kind of gauge it to the size of tree you had. I consider most trees, 6 feet tall, about that. Now if you've got a 20-foot tall tree, you've got to size your ornaments a little bigger. And if you've got a table size one, you need to make them a little bit smaller. But for a normal tree, about like that, something like, stay within that range and you can make as many as you want. The third thing for tree ornaments is you don't have to be perfect, because you're not. Now, if you're going to put it on a table over here, yes, you want to make it perfect. If you're going to make a display to go on a dining table, you want to get it as good as you can. But for a tree ornament, you're looking at something that you can look at from 5 feet away. It doesn't have to be perfect, so if you make some mistakes, it's okay. The very first thing I remember on Christmas trees that we had, icicles. They were plastic. They weren't even this good. And so I decided, that's pretty easy to make. It's a spindle turning. You can make spindles. All these are easy to make. And let me give you my tip of the day. While I was at SWAT, I attended the lady who did the demo on offset turning. And one thing she talked about was using this type tailstocks, center. But I found out that if you take the point out of this and you have a spindle and you bring this up and you just make a bevel on here where it'll fit in there, because you know what a mandrel saver is. You know how they work, because they took away the point off of here to putting pressure on it to slide it all the way up. This kind of works the same way. You bring this up, you don't have to put a whole lot of pressure, because this is going to keep it from moving. And if you use a chuck to tighten it down on there, you don't have any pressure on the thin part of your spindle, so it won't try to bow or, make an oval instead of something round or just totally off center. Well, you can do that on any small. There's your tip of the day. Use it. Here's some different spindles. I did not decorate my little wooden soldier, because I know other people can do it better than I can. So, but that's a basic spindle with a couple of dowels glued on it. You can make that. There's all different kinds of ways. And for hangers, these are just the regular Christmas hangers. I don't put a hook on it or anything. I drill a hole in it. At the end of it, I use an ice pick and then just punch a little tiny hole in there, and then you can put the wire in, and you use your spouse to tell you that, I can't believe you're doing that, you're going to stick yourself, there's going to be blood, all that stuff. To glue it in, I put a drop of glue. I have a piece of stainless steel, and I'll put a drop of super glue, and I take this wire, whoops, let me get over where you can see it, and I just fold over the end about 1/16 of an inch to kind of double it and put it in the hole. Dip it in the super glue and put it in there, and it holds pretty good. Just the wire by itself, it never seems to grip good enough, but with that little loop on the end, it makes it grip better. Okay, one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to tell you how to finish, because everybody has their own way to finish, but you're putting on a Christmas tree, whatever. Okay, let's do some flutes. This one has 3 flutes. This one has 4 flutes. These are easy to make too. I'm going to show you how I do the flutes. Only thing is, we don't have an indexing wheel, so I'm just going to have to try to fake it here. This is a big. Pretend this is a small finial. And believe it or not, I actually like the Tommy Chucks. Let's see if we can find something to line this up on. Oops, I need to put the bigger one on here for this. Now you can do 3 flutes, 4 flutes, however many you want, but usually 3 or 4 works pretty good. So I guess I'll use these chuck jaws to kind of, but I draw a line along, rotate it 90 degrees, draw another line, rotate it 90 degrees again, another line, and 90 degrees, another line. Okay, this is just to help lay out. I'm gonna put one in the middle. Let's see, one on each end. Y'all can kind of see what I'm doing here. One in the middle there. This will determine how many sections you put here, determines how tight you want the threads. Okay, now then, we've got to cut it. So I marked the diagonals. Diagonal of each corner to corner. It doesn't matter how good and straight it is. You kind of see how that goes like that. I'm going to cut that to form my flutes. Now let's move this out of the way and get one we can use. I knew it was here somewhere. Okay. Now I got to get this big one out of the way. I'm not going to go and put all the lines on here. We'll just put one on here. Do the same thing we did before. Okay, one line. I know you don't want to watch me do setup, but we got to do this. Okay, these here, split it in half, half again. You can tell how exact I'm measuring those. And we're going to join the diagonals. For the fun part, we'd cut along the diagonal. You just have to cut a shallow groove. Try to follow the line. You don't have to be exact, but you just follow it. Okay, now we've got the basis for one flute. I'm not going to do all four. Now I come back and I have a triangular file, and I'll kind of enlarge that one groove just a little bit. Not too much. Now then, this is a chainsaw file. It's nice and round and it's consistent. It's not like some of the files that vary as they go along. But that groove I cut in there and that groove I enlarged gives me something to follow with this, because it's kind of hard to do just doing it freehand. But that right there. And I'll take it about half the depth of the file. Let's see. I am making some dust here. I didn't want to make too much. And I'll just keep going till I clear it out or till I'm satisfied with the depth of it. When you do all of them, you get it, looks like this. This is a 3, this is a 4. No need to pass that one around. That's spindles or finials. Do that. Okay, after thinking a little bit, I was looking through something on Amazon and I saw something that kind of piqued my interest. I had some in my shop. I was looking for some ping pong balls that had eyeballs on them, for Halloween. And I had one left over after Halloween, and thinking about making Christmas tree ornaments, I thought, well, maybe I could make something like that, put an eyeball on the tree. I decided that I could order on Amazon all different color ping pong balls. So they actually make a pretty good ornament, and they fit the first rule of being very, very light. And you can get them in all different colors. I ordered a bunch that were going to be glow in the dark, but they didn't glow in the dark very good, and they were too thin. Anytime you tried to do anything, they mashed. Now, you look at this and you say, oh, that's simple to make. You just make a finial for the top, a finial for the bottom. You know, it's so simple. There's not much to it, and it's easy to do. The problem is drilling your hole. You can drill this first hole really easy because it doesn't matter where it goes. But now you got to put the other one exactly on the opposite end. I don't know about y'all, but it just blew my mind trying to figure out all the math to get it to come out pretty close on the other end. You got to figure out what size dowel you want to use, because I don't know what size this is. I found them at Hobby Lobby and they work, so that's all I know. I tried some that were too big, and when they get if the dowel is too big, then you can't make your finial small enough. You can't get your diameters in there exactly right. But this one works out okay. Okay, to drill a hole in this, the top one's easy. I took a block of wood, put it in my chuck. Let me show you. Okay, cut a recess in it to fit a ping pong ball. It doesn't have to be exactly right, but it has to hold it pretty firm. And when it's on the lathe, when your block is on the lathe, you drill the hole that you're going to drill in it through the block in the center of the recess you've turned. Then when you put this on your drill press table, bring your drill down to where it fits in that hole and lock this on the table. Now then, when you put your ping pong ball on it, the hole on the top is going to come out pretty close to exactly the North Pole and the South Pole will be lined up. Pretty close. I mean, this spins. It's not exactly centered, but it's close enough. It's going to be close enough for Christmas ornaments. You do have to do one other thing to make this work. Here's my blank for making my finials that go on it. I drill the same size hole in the center of this. Make a Fred Groves jig to do that too. I didn't bring that, but it'll have the same size hole as that. As you round your blank down, get it round, take a skew or something to put a shallow depression in there and then fit it and see, it fit pretty close like that. And then when these are just pressed on, they'll come off. See, so it just has to fit up there pretty good. This one has some soft spots on it. Okay, that's my part to check it. If I have that shallower part, if I need to put a little more, I can put a little more depression on it. You don't have to leave these just like they are. Those of you who are pretty good artists, you could take the white one, you could paint on it, you could draw stuff on it, put stickers on it even, give it to kids and let them have some stickers and put on it. Next Christmas ornament, next easiest one piece. Here's one. This is just a square block, has holes drilled through it. It's really just looks like 4, but it's 2 holes. Okay, to get your hose to pretty much match up, you drill a small pilot hole through it first, all the way through. You come back on this side, put your Forstner bit so that you cut part way through, flip it over, use the other pilot hole, do that on each side, and then go back and finish drilling through it. That way you won't have tear outs. Even if you've got a good wood base, it'll still tear out on you. Okay, and this is just a solid piece. It's a little heavier than a ping pong ball, but it's not too bad. And then let your mind go wild, use your imagination. You can do all kinds of finials on it, other things, decorate it, wood turn it. Next we get to the first inside out ornament. This is your basic inside out ornament. It has 4 pieces of wood that you tape together. Now, I use strapping tape. You can use blue masking tape, but you have to put about 3 bands on it. But you have to make sure all this is good and tight. Sometimes I'll use a worm clamp on it to hold it. And if you don't offset the groove that you're going to turn in here, if you put it exactly in the center, when you go back to glue it up, you'll go crazy trying to get all these edges to match up. So make sure this groove is off center a little bit, or mark the ends of it so you can always put it, oriented the same way. When you take this apart, this is 4 pieces, no center. You glue it up, it looks like this. This is what you get. Now, the one thing I don't like about this is to do your finials on top and bottom, you have to take a lot of wood off. It's going to take you a little while to take all it off. And to make your inside, I was at a beauty salon a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago or so, and there was this kid playing with stuff on the floor, and I was looking for things to, put inside of here to make it kind of neat. See, this one's inside out. I've painted the inside, and I turned a Christmas tree to put in there, and you got to glue it in and everything. And I thought, maybe there's something a little easier than that. This kid was playing with some toys in the floor, and he had this little Santa Claus. And I offered him $1 for it. And he said, no, 5. And his mom was over there, listen, so to him, I said, no. I said, what are these? Believe it or not, these are pencil erasers. And you can buy a whole set of them. I got different ones. Here's Santa Claus. Here's a reindeer. Here's a gift box, a Christmas tree, a little snowman, and another Christmas tree. And they're really erasers, not just pencil erasers, but, erasers. But you can take these and you kind of size your opening so that it'll fit in there. And then you glue it in, I don't know, E6000, something like that, or some epoxy if you want to. I don't know that I'd try super glue, but, they'll fit in there. That's easier, and I think these are neater looking than a tree that I turned and put in there. Now, I like this inside out ornament better because it has a stem and you don't have to do all the turning. And also you get the scalloped effect on it. I just think with using 2 different colored wood, it looks prettier or more attractive. But then this is one you have to do a different way. You can't just glue it up. To turn it, you have to put it on the stem it doesn't have to be the one you're going to do, but all this has to be the exact same size and square. And to me, I like putting these blocks on there so I can put these blocks that go across there, tape them on, and I have a place I can use for a stop to make it come. All right, here's one. The pieces put on there. So you see how different it looks? It's like... and you don't want to turn this too deep, but you got to get it deep enough. I don't know what the dimensions are. You just have to play with it because you can always turn the outside down more, but if you get this too deep, there's nothing you can do about it then. But this strapping tape and this, and it holds pretty good. And then it comes off, and then you glue it up. This is all one color, so you glue them, you mark them, put them on there, and then you can turn the outside. This is different colors, where you'll end up with the scallop like that. These end up being pretty light, and this was last year, so I didn't do much on the finial on it. See, this one here looks a little bit better. Here's one that I don't think qualifies for 5 foot. You might have to hold this one at 10, maybe 15 feet to qualify, because I turned it too deep, so it ended up being a little bit offset. So one of the veins, or whatever you call these, ended up being too thin. And then when you look at it on the end, it's not centered either. And so it could still be used. You put it way back in the tree, hide it in the bushes or something like that. I am finished. Okay.